Have some faith in the sun. It's the one good thing that I've got. I won't let you down. So please don't give me up. It's not really there, really love. Just stick around. Oh yeah. Okay. We want to welcome to another finest editions of the causes of abuse, the effects of abuse. I don't know, when we talk about abuse, what comes to your mind? What is your thoughts about abuse? And many of us, if not all of us, have some level of understanding what abuse is always, probably the effect of abuse, and what we see to be prevalence in our community. So, as the community engagement, actually want to welcome you to this time. It's wonderful to be here again. It's a time with me, or your humble servant, Reverend Jarvis Bestman, and I'm proud to be a man and with integrity, and a man that stand for what I stand for. And so also I think those of us who understand when it comes to human rights and the rule of law, human rights and a responsibility to respond to situation around us regarding our own lives. And when we look at the word abuse, it becomes probably a word that every one of us try to look at or look down upon. Sometimes we don't take it serious because when we hear the word abuse, what comes to our mind is something different. But sometimes it applies to different things, and then we need to fix it. And we need to make it probably our priority. Sure. Also, when we look back, sometimes we can abuse can be in many ways. Sometimes we can abuse our own the thing we given to use probably in life. We can abuse it and destroy our own life. We see the fire in Liberia. We start our fire campaign, and our awareness is going to be more massive. We're trying to get across, like we said 2 weeks ago, and probably is something that whether the money is there, whether somebody want to help us, or the community engagement, or the group, individuals, wherever you are in the world, we are going to be raising awareness in Liberia and a part of the world who can get have access to some of the things that's on Facebook and in person is going to be in Liberia. So I want to thank God again for the opportunity given to us to be here, and it's a great opportunity. It's the way we give back to our society, and we can give back in many ways. You don't have to have the money to giving it to people before you know that you're giving back to society. Maybe you have influence to know people, like I know some other people that I know that will be going to me with me in Liberia, or maybe I might not be in Liberia, and it will be going to as a result of our partnership and what we're doing here on Facebook, and the presence of the community engagement global mission. As a result of the community engagement, I want to say you're most welcome, and you are always welcome to share your dream, to share your thoughts. Maybe you have some thought about what we're doing is not the right way, it's not good. Probably you might have your own contribution to make, and a lot of us have not been so focused on why God have called us to do what we're doing, or probably what we feel passionate doing. I just with Dr. Reed, and wonderful woman of faith, share her a wonderful story about her son, and because of the patience she had, that boy became a great boy. But the question to all of us today, if our children or child is going to privacy might be coming on part of the show. I'm ready to tell about her own motivation and how she go about. So it's all about taking some time. You see, abuse has a lot of effects. It could be probably in a situation of abuse when you as a mother probably abort a child, and probably at one point in time you want to get away with the child because, well, the child is physically challenged or have some physical defects that would not permit you to show that child up there. And you might be saying to yourself, well, I can't care this child because this child is not it's not in the right, it's not his body or her body is not right. Is, some of the part of him or she is not ready thinking well. Well, I want to say to you, whatever the case may be, take care of your children. And I want to say thank you to her again, and she will be invited to one of our show out of on the hour of assignment, whatever time we are going to get in touch with her, because I really, really, really admire, a story. So again, it's a time that when you begin to look at the center of your discussion, abuse become a serious issue. Sometimes we downplay it because if not all of us, most of us behave as if we cannot see it. We don't realize that when we are abused, we are in a very serious situation that have an effect upon our family. And as for me, I tell you, man, you got to understand when you are abused, uh, you know, the result of abuse. Let me go to it a little bit. The result of abuse can have uh, devastating, long lasting effects on individuals. Physical abuse can lead to injuries, chronic pain, and even disabilities. Emotional abuse can cause trauma, low esteem, and you can see that when someone is emotionally abused, probably they feel probably so not self-confidence. And um, as you look at abuse in the wild way, you can be abused physically, emotionally, and you feel rejected in our society. But with your set and shame, you feel shame, sexually abused, and this is something that affects families. So when we focus on domestic violence, probably we talk about domestic violence, we talk about abuse. When we talk about sexual violence, we also talk about abuse. And when women, whoever, men or women, whatever gender that probably faces according to their own way of being responsible for their body, and they gave themselves to something that they know they were not originally born to do, then they become responsible for whatever happened, the consequences, then it become a problem. But as we just look at the community engagement, is it's all about engaging our community and with information. Sometime like we started our engagement with the fire situation. We think we do more engagement, and with your own expertise, wherever you are in the world, you can make the world a better place. You can make your community a better place. So as we begin to look at what abuse, and in more cases, the female are abused. Sometime at the end of it, probably the person life is taken, probably by out of the spouse, which is femicide, intimate femicide, have committed, probably by either the forces. So when you commit intimate femicide, in other words, by killing your destroying the life of your partner, your female partner, it means, well, that is a crime. Although domestic violence is a crime, but to the point of death, it become a real, real crime that probably will take you to jail. So our advocacy is our engagement with people. It's not about, well, okay, we just want to get involved in your family. No, want to intrude into your relationship. No, What we do know in our pursuit to really get to you the information that is very necessary is to help you, is to rescue you from being held responsible for destroying the life of another person who you call your wife, or someone who you are interactive with or in relationship with. Now you decided to get too angry with him or her, and then you try to take their life only because they frustrated you and because of abuse psychologically, and it can also cause a serious problem. And I was listening to the guy right here in America, taken from Liberia, out of love, and probably this lady, I'm not going to call her the name professionally, but as you watch Facebook, you can see that there's a need to address the issues so that one person can be free, because that is an abuse. You see, psychologically, it's going to place on the mind of the guy. And what happens to those of us who cannot see the abuse, especially the psychological abuse, it plays on the mind. Or the abuse might be, let's say, you can see it visibly. It's visible because if you domestically abuse a woman, probably by beating on her, or a man by beating on him, or whatever, or the child, then that thing is seen. You see the spout, you see the pain, they are painful, they are also spout and bruises all over the body. That can be seen. But psychological abuse, probably verbal abuse, cannot be seen. It's painful. Well, because you can see if somebody, a child, is assaulting his mother who broke him fall, or his father who is his father, then of course that can call verbal abuse, and it's terrible. And so what happens? Sometimes the mother is old, and she might be thinking about how her children that she bring forth is not worth. Sometimes they give up on their own children, and because, well, the children did not follow their example, or sometimes we cannot say whether they followed the example or whether they did not. But I think in our own experience, it could be that the society, they found themselves, the community, the peer pressure, or maybe with the way they started up with them, probably, and then they become unabused. When verbally abused, when the child is assaulting or insulting the mother who brought him forth, then the mother is always thinking, if I knew, I would have aborted this child. Sometimes we put curses on the children because, well, they get a problem. If you listen to Victoria, if you listen to Victoria, the lady on the show, with Rise to the Greater Height, we understand that there are children. I'm here today as a result of my mother kept me, but actually I was to be thrown on the garbage turn. That's what made me to be excited about God. I would have been thrown. My story is I would have been thrown in the garbage turn, or in just on the street, or maybe they were taking me and put me somewhere to be there until I gave up, right? Because I was not looking like a human being that made to live. So but then I was preserved. In other words, but here am I today. So when you listen to the story of people, and you listen to how they have more time with their children, then you begin to also, pray for them, thank God for them, because had it not been for her, that child would have come up to be great, helping other children today. Would have not been in that position. Had it not been for my mother, I would have not been here today. No, no, I would have been, well, gone, not even remembered in no history, not even being connected to all these guys. Not even got to know some of the things that I'm doing on Facebook, other people might be benefiting from. Might not be even the higher of the children assistance rescue mission before we come to the community engagement, bringing people together to make the change in our society. Now again, you see, so when you begin to look at where you come from, where you are, no, don't look at the money, don't look at money, don't look at where God is taking you or whether you will be there or not. All you need to look at your life. That is the first thing, because all these things we can accumulate all the worth and think that we have done well, but we've stayed leaving this place and we stayed leaving those worth with our children. If our children are not capable, those worth are being given to government. So we kill ourselves for nothing. So again, we need to begin to understand that why it is true that, well, the abuse of people are on the rampage. So you are the citizen of a country. You are a citizen of a community. The effect of abuse are probably when people are abused, there are a lot of different ways people respond to the abuse, and sometimes they turn to forget about themselves, not thinking about whether probably they have time in life, they still have some time to talk about their own life, or probably they stay can go ahead with what they're doing, or whether they have enough time to continue with life, whether they have time to promote strength to what they're doing as a result of abuse. When we talk about domestic and rights and responsibility is demanding. Now, somebody will come up here to say I'm a human rights actor or whatever consultant, but it's true that you have the passion to be a human rights consultant. Our interest should not just be to earn certificates, because I can see that many of the guys who passed through the walls of the United States Institute just went there because they saw other people going there. But if you go there because you have the passion, it's good. When you also go there because you want to learn, and later on you can develop the passion, you can begin to give yourself some time to love something, to advocate for disability rights, to advocate for the rights of people that have been marginalized. Then you create it inside of you the interest. You might have the passion for it, and so it's just not late for anyone to develop by training them or after training. Now, the best thing I can say to more people is that you must have the passion. You may have a passion for advocating for people. Now, if you see yourself be driven, either you are tied to something, either you are being connected to a nation, or you're being connected to some kind of group, or your ancestors. So that thing is part of you. When people speak of abuse and people speak of them being an advocate, sometimes you begin to trace their genealogy, their ancestors, tryout, and see where the ancestors come from. You see, then you will realize, I see why this guy, this lady, is dominantly talking about human rights, or is dominantly talking about promoting women's rights. So the fact that you are a pastor, you are a imam, or whatever position you find yourself, you might be called to do something. Everyone has been called in this work. So the community engagement is about teaching people their rights, fighting for right, peace, justice, and equality for all. And the bottom of it is human right is not optional. That is our motto. Human right is not optional. So when if human right is not optional, then why should an abused person, actually who was abused, be ignored because the perpetrator having some connections with people who probably might have maybe influence, that they can say, no, this guy is not guilty, who can stop justice, who can prevent justice. if human right is not optional. So, because of the effects of abuse, many people today are going to the early grave. If not all of them, some of them going to the early grave. Hello. Uh, they're going to the early grave, and probably they they know more because of that abuse. And so, for us to help our community, for us to begin to develop the minds of responsibilities, the mind of taking control over our community, the mind of taking control over our families, and not abandoning our children as fathers, as mothers, especially as mothers. You see, when you listen to different mothers who went through some abuse, that is an abuse. The effect of abuse, it has a long-term effect, lasting effect with other women that we went the Shared Hope Foundation. So very impressive testimonies about where she comes from. And when you begin to look at these long terms, after the abuse, and we're going to be talking about it lengthily in some of our podcasts here, after abuse, post abuse, um, actually trauma after after being traumatized, and going through that long period of restorations of time to recover. During the recovery period, it is time for that person who have actually, maybe they were rescued, maybe they did not actually lost their life in the abuse situation. So why they are overcoming, doing the therapies and trying to get some help, which they need help a prayer, help a counseling. Now, I'm not talking about the deceitful prayer. I'm not talking about the deceitful prayer. When a person goes through abuse, when a mother or a woman, a lady go through abuse, they need your help. They don't need only prayer. Probably they might not even need much prayer than application. You see, the reason why we struggle even in our faith, in our walk with God, in our physical appearance, and what we go through in affliction sometimes, it is our own behavior. It's the way we apply it. It's the way our conceptions, our perception. In other words, why? If you look at and listen to the woman who was speaking, Victoria, you understand that, well, she didn't emphasize more on prayer. She emphasized on, well, the way she took care of this child, therapies, taking care of him, spending more time. Well, I will not tell you that prayer was not in her purview. She was praying, but dominantly, she had more time with her son. In some cases, we turn to forsake the child. In more cases, or the person that is going through that abuse or trauma, and say, well, they go to church. We take him to the church, and let agree that a woman is going through abuse. She was sexually abused, and because of her trauma, she feel rejected. Now she finding a solution to the church, to us, to me, Jarvis. And she came to me, and I prayed for her, and I see some emotional something coming out of my eyes and in my body trembling, and I tell her, let get together, man. What am I doing to her? I'm adding more problem to her life. She was abused, and many women go through these things at many times, but it is our responsibility. If I was Jarvis to be the one that will encounter such a person, my responsibility would be to pray for them, give them the support they need in order for them to recover. Anything else after recovery, we can go into it if I decide to do it. If I'm promiscuous, or my eyes just booming all over the place, then I need to go for it. But before I go for it, as a pastor or as a counselor, guardian counselor, I must make sure to let that person be recovered. In the recovery process, it takes time, it's a long term. So the effect of abuse, and many people are abused today in our society, and the government and some of the different apparatus and institutions that need to begin to add onto the support that they need, well, they neglect them. So what are some of the things that we need to do as people who believe the effects that they go through after the abuse? If someone is domestically abused, they need to be supported by means of going to the hospital, probably make sure that those different survey, probably whatever surgery and whatever thing that they need to do be done before. Then we can begin to look at them, start praying. Why it is true that prayer go in line with some of the abuse cases. It should not be a priority to where we neglect them. Now, it should not be a priority where we say, okay, we must pray, come to church, come bring the letter to church and let pray for her. Bring the letter to church to pray for her. We add no injury to her life. Abuse, the effect of abuse, it has a lot to do. When people are abused and abandoned, it's dangerous, it's insecure. If you can listen to, if you listen and take your survey very well, or do an analysis, probably with all the things that we're thinking about or talking about on the community engagement, right and responsibility demand, but also the responsibility of a community to preserve or to support or the support that the abused person need from the community. Safety, confidentiality, probably the person not develops some illness of self-esteem, the need support to have confidence, their security, their shame, their disgrace, the thinking about how can I live in the community. I went through abuse with this guy. I can't really want to see his face, and every time I see him, I want to kill him. I don't want to destroy his life. So an abused person, when they go through those trauma, they think about how they were abused by this person. If they have some harmful things in their hands and they see this guy around, they want to take advantage of. They want to go against them. So that's what they need support. That's what I look to recover in that situation. Why it is true that it takes time. It is also true that it can be instant. Sometimes it depends on the way God wants and you to get involved, or probably God wants to intervene. God is just God can do it now. So when we talk about long terms, we talk about in terms of the physical condition for you to be restored. But God instantly can deliver you from that power that is bombarding your mind. And when you are settled in a peaceful manner, that means you agree and you align with God's word. Then you who I was an abused person 2-3 months ago, you become a brilliant evangelist. Not to depend on the prayer while you are going through your therapies and other things you're doing, then of course you're helping yourself to recover from the body. Now let me say something. There was time 3 years ago. I'm not going to call the name of this person because it's unprofessional, and I'm not going to even call the place because I know it's many people know that place. Probably specifically, I'm going to call it just generally on the street. It was around the fifth, sixth, seventh street, and this person actually is a mother, was a mother, and married to, not married legally. I got to know later, which I didn't feel fine for this guy. But why it is true that this guy go around sing and you know, like I can remember we partnered with them. We have this revival, and you know, she a brilliant lady. She sings well. She prayed. They prayed all the time. She was going through an abuse, psychological, and I don't know. It would have been also verbal, but in most cases, it was psychological. And I can remember probably some time. Well, it was always good, but and we could see the movement, and she was ready putting more time to what the guys were doing. With the belief that this guy would really take her hand finally. But they slept together in the same bedroom. They were like husband and wife. There was no distinction, but he was a man of God. God forbid. You can be a man of God, and this is listen to me and listen to me well. Those of us who are men and women of God, go and check on my profile. Go back in whatever I do. My agreement, my covenant that I signed, I respected that covenant until I came to the place where I could not continue with the covenant. Because I would have not been here today speaking to you. So, but that is not the point. The point is you can be the man of God or the woman of God, sleeping with a woman who you decided not to marry. Or I'm talking about living in the same house, fooling her all the time that you're going to marry her. And you allowed you guys to work together and probably uh, did all you could. And then at the end of the day, well, you have a different thing doing. She was worrying about it, going to the altar to pray all the time. Not sharing it, of course, even though she shared it, but it's not like, well, it was something that she could get rid of or walk away from. She carried it on the altar. So the abuse, when it is in the silent, that means psychological or verbal or whatever it is, in other words, it plays on the mind. And if you are not careful, you see, many of us, if not all of us, go to our elder grave because we worried about something that we can walk away from. I don't want to preach here today. So we keep this woman under the impression that we love her. It's not have to be the guy. I don't have. We can say billions of women all over the world. Men, we got them. Men are less than the women. So why would a man play on the mind of a woman? Probably some of the guys, some of the women are crying, and because, well, the men are many, and women are not men scarce, and women are many. But if you, as a man of God, have decided to get married to this person with your whole heart, and you start sleeping with them, living in the same house under the same roof, doing things together as husband and wife, and that was an abuse. Why it is true that it plays on her mind. And I can remember that year. So we're praying all the time to take some fast. Many women do that. Praying about something that might not be God's will, or probably it could be God's will, but the person is not serious about it. So we are abused. We don't know that we are abused, and they're abusing us all the time. That is psychological abuse. So it plays on the person's mind. They go to bed sleeping and they're worried about it. They go to fasting. They say, okay, I'm going to fast for another time. No woman try it to take my man that I go along with all the time. And to do that, they go to the altar. Probably you may have some deferred in your relationship, but when we talk about abuse, it gets so bad when a man is sleeping with a woman who he is not really want to marry, and or have either engaged them and decided for the devil of his heart or for her heart. There are many women all over the world. They have very nice women, stay living, looking for good men, looking for good women. So why will you try to lie to other person only if you want to know about them, which is just after you leave the bed? So the problem of abuse, psychological, are placed on the minds of the man or the woman, especially females. And I can remember that year they were praying, and she was leading the prayer. She was on the altar leading the prayer, and she left on that altar leading the prayer. After certain minutes had passed, I went to check on her. She could not speak anymore. But she was what? She was leading a prayer. God is not the author of confusion. So we need to guard our integrity. We need to guard ourselves. We need to understand that our psychologically, our body needs some affection. Our body needs our pride, whatever they need, in order for us to be satisfied with our fleshly desire in line with God's will. If again, as a married couple or someone who believes that this man is my husband, this woman is my wife, or to be my wife, I love her. I'm not affording to lose her. And on the other side, some of the guys, some of the women, why it is true, you're in the house with the guys, and you eating his money, and psychologically he getting traumatized. He abused by you, he absorbed by you. Why it is true that you have told him, pour him under the pretense you love him, and you guys going together. Be very both of them. It's better to say to the person, Lord, I'm not available, or I'm not, I don't like you, you need to, walk out of this thing. Many people are abused today because, well, they want to be abused. Any woman in the world, you can be the more beautiful, the more influential. If you ever tell me, well, I don't like you, man, don't come around me. Or probably, just forget it, man. It doesn't take one inch for me. Why you think so? Because I'm capable. Besides that, I have confidence in myself. You guys who are men, I want to say to you, you don't need to impress any woman about who you are, what you want to do. You are so influential, you like them, and and they don't like you, to turn their back on you all the time. You don't have to go around them. You don't have to. Because life is a stage. Tomorrow you're going to be noble. You can be handsome today. You can be the more beautiful woman tomorrow, or probably you can have everything, but tomorrow is a different time. So people that abuse based on the way they apply it to their life. So when you are abused, you got to understand that, well, you to leave that place where the abuser is living with you. You can't. It's going to be impossible. So your abuser is there with you, and you are staying in the same house, but you have been abused for many years. You're living in the house, aggressively. The guy that's turning the back on you, and you don't care about him. You guys are fighting every day. And abuse, to be abused, in other words, for a person to be abused, it means that this person has been in a relationship, well, for a long time, and well, they forgot to know that, well, the abuse so have told them that I don't like you again. And if the guys told you he doesn't like you again, and what would be your thought? It's just about, well, finding your way out. So the effect of abuse is so severe on many women and also men. And I was listening to the other guy, And to end that story, she left on the altar and she gave us the ghost. But she was abused by the guy who called himself a man of God, singing and preaching the word of God all over the place. Dare you? Well, I would tell many guys, look, man, let be friends. It's better to say let be friends, let talk about it, let be partner, and it's better to do that than to lie to this person and abuse them. You see, we need to help each other to deliver each other from there. It's better to say to a woman who comes for prayer, who want me to pray for her to be recovered for something. It's better for me to tell that person, look, well, let me pray for you. And I know that I can give you the help to recommend you to this person for some support. But let me not put them under the pretense that, look, I love you and let's start doing some things. Why that person was abused. See, we also need to know that an abuse situation will come out of abuse. It is well known to us that an abuse situation is a situation that depends or will need our help, and whatever it is, whatever it means, we must be able to solve that problem from ourselves, from between among us, among we're talking about the abuser and the perpetrator. So the abuser and the perpetrator must be able to solve the problem. We cannot and should not. We cannot and should not think that in an abuse situation we cannot overcome. We can only overcome that situation with our own way of using strategy. Yeah, I will be all by 1:30, so I don't know. I will waiting on you up to 12. I will be all by 1:30. Can you 1:30? I just got in, I was waiting up to that time, so I don't know. What do you think? Okay. So thought that that relationship that he was in could be, we could talk to him to say, okay, but man, you need to get out of the relationship, or else you need to restore yourself, so that if you will marry this lady, don't fool her, don't go along with her. At the end of the day, then you become a victim, or she become a victim. So I want to say to all of us, those of us who are listening to the sound of my voice, that you can develop a relationship. You can courtship somebody, you can love them, right? But again, if that relationship is based on maybe the flesh, it's based on emotion, it's based on just going to bed, then that relationship will not last. Even if it lasts, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So what is sustainable is deep affections. So if you get there because of the woman money, because you see the woman influential, go back, go in the world, go in any part of America. Ask a lady whether they ever bought a car or because I see many guys here. Oh, that's a lady. Oh, yeah, the lady are cussing them on the street, putting their things outside because they went in their life and they lied to them because they wanted something from them. That is psychological abuse. And when you see the lady acting like that, they are abused. So how do you want them to respond in this country where people go through a lot of stuff, have to work hard for their money, and you guys get in their life trying to fool them while you got 3 or 4 guys outside doing something else and fooling them also, and you put yourself into a situation to be confused. So an abused person can take advantage of your life. I can remember at one point in time I was driving, I parked the car and I was standing at a place at the filling station, and the lady got down. I said, "Oh, how you doing today?" Oh man, it was just like, why should I say that? She assaulted me. She insulted me to the point of anything that I could tell her. But because who I am, because greater is he that was inside of me, I did not utter a word because I knew what was going on. So people go through these things, and the result of some of the guys who try to play on them. So it plays on the mind. There is no help for them. They try to get a help, but it still played on the mind, because while they were getting help, they still went back into another relationship that was more abusive. So it became complex to solve the problem. And we're going to be talking about these things because it's in our society, especially around here where we are. It's prevalent. You can see it. Because when a woman is abused for another relationship, she gets so afraid to get in the next one. Probably she just want to do it because she want to be with somebody. But I tell you the truth, sometimes, like I know somebody who we talked, and I've been part of what we all were doing. But then I noticed that this person was abused massively. They experienced an abuse. And then when you experience an abuse, you can't come into a relationship that will not love you. No. Any relationship that you're coming in after an abuse situation, that person must be, not an option, must be a man or a woman who is going to put a cold water on a hot fire. Patient, real affections. Not based on the feeling of your body. Oh, the woman is fat. I like her shape. I like the money. She will support me. She will buy my car. No, it's not. It should not be based on that, because in your recovery, remember that you came from an abuse situation. So when you get into another marriage, or when you get into another relationship, you don't go into another relationship that will be abusive. No, when you get into any relationship that is abusive, then of course you are putting harm on yourself. I want to advise, and I say to all of us, those of us who are listening and who are listening to the sound of my voice, we can do with all another person. I listen to more single women, real, all these guys. They've been very potential about themselves, thinking constructively about their own life, not thinking about any guys coming in their life to destroy what they are building up for themselves. You see, we must be independent. If we don't have, let us eat our dry rice. It better to do it than to go and fool the person and tell the lady, oh, I like you, I want to marry you because you got some money to give you, or because you think, why are you depending on the money of that lady? That she suffer for whatever thing that happens. So as I conclude, I want us to begin to look at the word abuse. When you study it and when it comes to psychological abuse, you understand that it plays on the person. It's silent. You cannot see it. You can see the physical. The verbal, well, the person do it, and it affects you, because you think about how your child exalted or insulted you, or your daughter. You never actually had that feeling one day that the children that you're bringing forth will be nothing, will be people who we call them, they're just all over the place. They don't have no focus. That was not your thought when you brought them, or you send them to school. So then it plays on your mind. Even though you can be recovered from that, believing God, I agreed. But in more cases, we are human. And when it dominates the play on your minds, it sometimes causes you to lie down, and sometimes you're not getting up again. Some kind of heart attack that just come on you because you have a hard breath up there and thinking about your children. It was because of that. You lie down on that bed and never woke up again. Nobody knew. The doctor would only say it was a heartbreak. But we can prevent it. We can prevent it. And I want to actually say to all of us, those of us from the church level, and I tell you the truth before I close, from the church level, many women are abused, even men, as pastors and leaders in the church. Either religiously, even in the imam side, they are abused. Why? One of the things that I see in my studies is that people keep silent because they don't want to be taken from the pulpit. Some of them who I honor a bishop or a leader don't want to be chastised. Probably they want to maintain their position at some time. In some cases, people are silent. They don't want to speak out what is going on in the home. because they are part of the choir. They are taking major part of the choir, and the doctrine of faith, they have criteria. When you don't meet the criteria, or probably if you go against the laws, definitely you're not going to hold the position. So the question, and my question to all of us, holding a position and your life being immeasurable, or probably living a miserable life, which one is better? Go to hell with the position. If the position will mean that I will die in that position, then let the position stay. Let my life go on. I can remember, if I will ever remember the time, and I've trained up in a very big church before I started my ministry. I was in a very terrible situation, but I have to make that decision. So for today, if I have not made that decision, my question to myself, where would I be today? So I want to leave this word with you as I close today on this. Don't forget to know that you are in the midst of something. Somebody don't like you. Somebody don't care for you. They're only concerned about your money. They only want to eat your money, but they don't like you. So all you need to do, stay away from them. Believe in God. God is faithful. He's able to take you from that condition. Don't go and put anybody under the pretense that you like them, because either of the beauty, of the money, of the influence, and really you don't like them. Or maybe you want to get something done for you quickly in America, or in part of the West, wherever part of the world you are, and you go into the relationship for those reasons, then God forbid, go into a relationship because of love. While it is true you play the fool to gain the wisdom, sometimes you are not gaining wisdom, you are putting yourself into the big problem that you will regret the hour you ever go into that relationship. My advice to all of us in an abuse, or the effects of abuse, a person that I know is in a relationship currently, left an abuse relationship, almost died into it, but in that relationship currently that don't love her at all. You can see it. They only pretend. But after that person got to know, maybe it's almost like lit. That's how they feel. So they will stay into that relationship because, well, they got nothing to say again. But as we conclude, if you are living an abuse situation, or if you are in an abuse situation, the best thing you do for yourself is to pray to God, yes, but to take decisions, take actions to prevent a future disaster. A future disaster. And that disaster, if you have children, it will not only affect you, it will affect your children, it will affect the person, affect you, it will affect the people around you. You can remember the church. The floodgates pastor had to kill his wife. Only because of some problem here that was too much tension on him. He could not walk away from it, leave the state, leave the church, put somebody in place of the congregation, travel and say, look, I have to go to rest myself, and pray to God. Go to a solitary place and ask God for direction. That would be the best solution than to take harmful thing and take the life of the person who you went to the altar and say, that death do you guys part. And I want to say to all of us, if you're in an abuse situation, if you think, well, okay, it's because of the money, it's because of the influence, it's because of the handsomeness or the beauty. Beauty got nothing to do with that. You got more beautiful women in the world, more handsome men in the world, and more heartfelt men in the world, or women in the world that are looking for you. You don't have to be in that relationship only because of their money. I wanted advice to all of us because it will help you and save your children, if you have some, and also the people around you. The community engagement is here to talk to you, to talk about human rights and our responsibility. Respond to your situation. Somebody out there will help you. Somebody out there will help you. Here at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the center, the event center We're going to be having some time talking about in-person meeting and counseling, talking more about some program that is coming up. Follow us. We can talk to you, can make a big difference. You can change your life and your life become better. Thank you. Until we see you again.